Throw Gang, we are joined by the flagship Pharaoh, the department Don Dada, the Sunset Sultan. Your BM got VD, he runs the BLVD. Must get his flex on and X on how he's moving this gas. Not cartel, but he got the H jumping. His brand buy makes the brands fly. His special sauce got you chatty patties beefing with Big Mac. Buying for him, he got Lorenzo in the Benzo. Doesn't sell pearl necklaces, but he got the racks drippy. Oh, you're not fucking with H.Lorenzo? How about you H.Lorenzo zoom in on these nuts? He knows what's on the horizon, call that Hadar radar. You ran through, he sell through. Call him the cloth surgeon, how he's directing these operations. The MLQ king, you got BO, he got POs. His skews do on you foos. Buyer and director of operations for H.Lorenzo, Mac Hadar. Mac, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming along.
Nice intro.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.
As a chill LA guy, hopefully that, gets the ratchetness going, dude.
It got the juices flowing.
Yeah. Make sure you hold the mic up there. There we go. Mac, thank you for joining us after you were at some fucking crazy dinner last night.
Yeah, I went to this. We are on a kind of pop-up dinner. It was like the opening night.
Are you a food guy?
I am.
Okay. What else is on the New York checklist?
I'm going to Carbone tonight.
Yeah.
First time? Not first time.
First time in New York, actually.
Oh,
really?
Been to the one in Miami.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I actually liked.
Really?
But I know this is the original.
No, this is that advanced mid, bro. Don't even trip. It's going to be good.
What's the carbone order for Mac Hadar?
I'm definitely going to be getting a Caesar salad.
Okay.
Definitely some of the vodka pasta.
Spicy rigatoni.
Always.
Okay. So you got the menu clocked. You're good to go.
Yeah. And then hopefully if I can make it out there in time, I want to go see a gig at Carnegie Hall.
That's right.
You know how to get there, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you take the Q train.
Yeah.
I don't. Are you taking the subway when you're in town? No way.
No, I'm at Uber.
Right.
My fiance's 7 months pregnant. So
Oh,
Congrats on the sex.
mazel, dude.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
You ready to be a dad?
Very much.
You got some swaggy baby fits picked out?
We actually picked a few. I actually went to a crazy rock and roll store this morning.
Okay.
And we found these like very kind of onesie like baby clothes with like skulls on it and like
Okay, rock on, dude.
which would be kind of
Can
great.
babies wear leather?
Not yet.
I guess it's skin, right? It's kinda like the most natural.
First baby in chrome heart.
Yeah.
Max, speaking of gear, the first thing I want to do is a little fit check. You came through today murdered out.
Yeah.
But why don't you break down everything that you wore to the only podcast that matters for us?
I'm wearing something very simple. I found these oversized cargos that I bought in Japan many years ago.
Nice. You know the brand?
I don't know the brand.
Great fit.
I'm rocking one of my favorite brands for basics, a brand called Eitan. It's a Japanese designer.
Nice.
Yes, they make huge shorts.
Huge shorts.
Huge tees too.
Everything is mega oversized,
Yeah.
but it's a brand that I also found in Japan when I was just walking through. And I love good basics.
Right.
I love to wear like just a good uniform. And I went through the space, and it's always hard to find a really good t-shirt.
As a buyer, when you travel, is that kind of like the lens you're, viewing the world through? Just like what are some good brands that maybe aren't readily available in the US that I can bring to H.Lorenzo?
Sure. I always love to travel, different parts of the world, a lot in Asia, a lot in Japan, a lot in Korea, and just kind of discover talents that maybe don't have the bandwidth to make it into like the...
Then you can write it off as a business experience.
Sure,
Yeah, I get it.
How's the Korean landscape looking like these days?
Really good.
Yeah. Strong.
A lot of very interesting designers, a lot of soul.
Conceptual, right?
Very much.
Yeah.
A lot of tech wear, but they love fashion over there.
Does Eitan, I was cruising through H.Lorenzo. I'm in the market for some shorts. I don't know if you can help me out or not, but seeing that you are the buyer, director of operations of a great store out in LA. Is Eitan, do they do the pleated mesh pinstripe basketball shorts?
No,
That's a different brand.
that's a different brand.
What brand is that?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's fucking big.
Okay,
range.
that was a test and he failed.
I was originally going to think you were talking about Home Plissé, but I don't think they do anything.
Well, there's
any
all
mesh.
They're pleated. The whole thing is pleated.
Yeah.
You're talking about like a pleated short.
Yeah,
in the front.
This
those I
is
don't-
namesake.
Oh,
Okay.
namesake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pleated basketball short.
That is insane. I'm
We,
looking at them right now. Those are what inseam is that?
yeah, we stock that
15
brand.
inches?
Their bottoms are always mega exaggerated, mega oversized.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a brand that basically they're actually from Taiwan.
Okay.
I actually went to go
Free
visit the
them.
boys when I was in Taipei a couple years ago, but super fashionable.
How
It's
many
like
pleats is that?
asymmetrical pleats.
Yeah,
I'm looking
they're
at like 3.5, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's some conceptual shit right there. What about the kicks today, Mac? What did you wear? on
I'm
the feet?
wearing the Bodhi Nikes,
Okay.
Ooh.
Socks.
Uniqlo.
Uniqlo.
Oh, basic man at heart.
Yeah.
What about the panties?
Panties, no panties.
Really? Really? You're free balling in the Knoll chairs.
I'm free balling in all chairs.
All right. Thank God for the technical cargos,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Coming through like a Mack truck.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And you were sipping on some water. You're a simple guy.
Mhm.
Just staying hydrated. All right. Fit check, drink check complete. Mac, you guys over at H.Lorenzo, you're celebrating your 40th anniversary this year. How are you guys, celebrating the big 4-0?
We're doing a few collabs with, I didn't want to do like 40 collaborations with.
That's a lot.
That is a ton.
It's a lot. So we're choosing about 10 to 12 different designers, which we are doing special collabs with.
Okay.
We got collabs with like Diesel, Pally Hollywood, and a few others, which we're going to be releasing hopefully in the next few weeks.
How does a brand make the cut for that 10 collabs? Like someone who's been with us the longest, someone that we have like a super personal relationship with? What's the process?
I would say someone that we definitely have a personal relationship with, someone that kind of works within our history, someone that we've had a lot of bandwidth with. There's certain brands that we've stocked for 20 plus years.
What's the brand you stocked the longest?
Probably either Isimiaki or maybe even like Yoji.
Oh shit! Okay,
master.
Yeah, that good Japanese shit. Okay,
Yeah.
impressive.
Is there what's? I know you can't have favorites, but which collaboration are you most looking forward to? Like what's gonna be gracing your shoulders?
It's a newer brand we started stocking.
Okay.
A brand called Pally Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
It's from James Franco, the actor, and his partner Kyle.
James Franco.
Yeah,
James
he
Franco.
designs Johns?
He's somewhat of a fashion designer today.
Oh shit!
So he's basically an artist. Obviously, he took a break from acting and started doing a lot of artwork. And then he met this guy Kyle, who used to work for this brand, Fucking Awesome.
Yeah,
heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he started putting his artwork on everything from tees, hoodies, whatever. And they created a T-shirt that has my father Lorenzo's face on it.
Oh wow, a tribute tee,
which is pretty fucking awesome. And it has all these different. It's really good. It's going to come out in the next few weeks, which I'm probably the one I'm most excited about.
Sick, dude. Shout out James Franco wherever you are. Come on the pod.
Do you wear the Pally H.Lorenzo tee with your dad's portrait on it to your dad's crib, or is that like wearing a band tee to the concert?
I'll wear it to my dad's crib.
Okay.
It's definitely it's probably the first piece of Pally I'm going on.
Who picked the photo?
James actually got it from online.
Oh, really? He's Google image search. He really is a streetwear designer.
And he started just taking all these Google stock images and putting it, and we kind of decided what should go where and which images work the best. And it's on the top, it says since 1984. So it's really, it's pretty awesome.
It's the real deal.
And then it also has all the dates of all the spaces.
Oh, okay.
So all the original first store, which we opened in 1984, it has the actual address and the address of all the spaces we've had for a 40-year term.
Were you on Sunset in 84?
We were. Not exactly where we were. We were about 2 blocks over.
How many pounds of drugs do you think were consumed in your store in the 80s?
Very much. I was a little bit too much of a baby.
Yeah,
but,
right.
My father would definitely tell me.
But, all right, 4 decades on top, though. Like, what do you think is the secret to remaining king of the hill for that fucking long?
I think it's really about having a real distinct point of view and really thinking of your business for the long term.
Okay.
And really, housing very special designers and just thinking about brands that will really work with your image for a very long time.
What's that point of view if you had to kind of summarize? Big picture.
I mean, I can only really speak from my time, which I've been in the company for about 20 years, but it's really about finding brands that have a real distinct point of view and something that has a lot of soul.
Right. So you're just curating visionaries.
Very much.
And that in turn makes you a visionary by association.
Yeah.
He sees the visionaries.
Yeah.
And
what's the opposite of that, though? Like kind of chasing a quick trend or like a hot brand?
Just chasing a quick thing. I think a mistake a lot of stores, which department stores have done for a very long time, is just putting a bunch of things in a space. And it's something that is kind of quick cash in the short term, but now the consumer's a little bit smarter today, and they kind of want to be part of something a little bigger, at least I feel. And
a lot of stores haven't been around for 40 years.
Yeah, that's true. I think the proof is in the pudding there.
Yeah.
Did you think that your dad was like, oh yeah, we're going to be here in 40 years?
I mean, when he first started, he came from Israel,
right?
With like $500 in his pocket when he was, I think, in the early 20s, and he started working construction for the first 7-8 years, saved enough money. Always felt like he had a thing for fashion. Once he saved enough money, he opened his first shop called Le Mirage.
Okay. That's French for the Mirage.
Yeah, basically.
I believe.
And that did well. And at the time he came here and he was against all the big names. It was just him and about 7-8 giants around him.
In LA still.
Yeah. The only one that still exists today is Maxfield.
Oh, wow.
Another fucking OG.
Yeah.
And worked, did well. I guess people really liked, his offerings and his point of view and his taste. And he used to do a thing called cash and carry. This is before the time that you go and you make an order and they ship it to you 6 months later. So he would go into the Sentier in Paris, buy things, bring in his suitcase, bring it to the shop, open the suitcase, people grab it, buy it, go back to Paris. And that's kind of
no lag at all.
That's kind of how he did business for the first couple of years.
That's
He's the first flipper.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The reseller, dude.
Yeah. And
crazy.
that worked. And he just kind of, built on that energy and it kind of worked from there.
What do you think, like, in 40 years, just like you talked about how like the Pally shirt has the locations, and how many locations have there been throughout the years?
Throughout the years, altogether, probably around 5.
Oof. What do you think are like, I don't know, just like significant moments in the H.Lorenzo timeline that kind of stand out from the rest?
I mean, there's a lot. Again, I can only really speak about from my time, but
yeah, which is 20 years.
If I want to go back a little bit, to some of the stories my father used to tell me is, he used to have clients like Tupac.
Oh, shit.
When I was really young, I do remember meeting James Brown in the space.
What? Yeah, what was that like? Did he make an impression?
I was very young, but I do remember just the handshake.
Strong handshake or?
Don't remember the strength of it, but I do remember his presence, which was obviously very crazy.
God, what was his fit?
Probably like a brown suit with like a fucking crazy hairdo.
Yeah.
But my father used to tell me that Tupac used to show up on Sunset in like a white Rolls Royce and used to call my Papa, which was awesome.
Incredible.
I was like, used to sell to Tupac? What? He was like, of course. He was my biggest customer.
The only
awesome.
Big Papa that he fucked with, honestly.
Yeah, nice.
Jesus, that's crazy. Okay, so meeting James Brown, one temple. What else do you remember that really kind of sticks out?
And then for me, it was when I really started properly taking over, and I started working the company since I was like 16.
Oh shit!
But I worked from the ground up. I started doing stock for the first 3 years.
You're not the average Nepo baby.
Yeah, just something with my father is it's not, even though he was, he started the company, nothing was ever given. I had to kind of earn everything myself. So I started working stock, good work ethic, building myself from the ground up. And then when I properly started running the company like 10 years ago, started doing a lot of different crazy events and social gatherings.
Okay.
And doing things that were very outside the box. One of the ones that I loved very much was with this brand 99% out of Korea. Mm-hmm. We did this event at this Cheetah strip club in Hollywood.
Fire. Again, great.
We got like a
great thing to write off.
It was one of my favorite moments. And we got a bunch of fashion heads in the same space. And Baju was his name, the designer. And he started designing this kind of lingerie for all the strippers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
It was awesome. Awesome.
He's like just sketching in the club.
Sketching, so we did all this, and then we had.
Here's your tip here for some free designs.
We basically treated it like a catwalk. So all the strippers would walk out in his clothing.
Wow.
Strip it off. Only left with 99% underwear.
That's my kind of fashion
show. It was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty next level, dude.
Yeah, it was amazing. And doing things like that. And then, once we got this Tier 0 Nike account, we did like a great event with like Jordan, which was awesome. But there's been a lot.
Wait, going back to like Tupac and James Brown, like what did VIP treatment look like back in the day?
That I don't, because I wasn't there, but I imagine just, treating them with the most.
Is it hands off, you think? Or was it like, let me show you new stuff, let me guide you around?
Knowing my pop, I'm sure was showing you new stuff.
Oh, yeah. He's locked in.
Yeah, very much.
He's a hands-on sales guy.
Back in the day, yeah, it was very much like that. Obviously, everything is shifted nowadays. Now it's a little bit more of obviously you can be hands-on, but in a bit more of a soft way.
Right.
What is like VIC, very important customer treatment, look like today? Is it just like white glove service? We bring everything to you.
Just really providing them what they need.
Okay.
And not being too in their face, but just kind of being of service.
Is that an after hours thing, like keeping the store open so they can shop like discreetly and privately, or
if they need to, yes. Okay. But always updating them, like everybody now wants the newest thing, and everybody, all the artists or athletes or whatnot, obviously want to wear everything first. So you provide, we don't buy a lot of SKUs per special item. So, we'll buy maybe 2 or 3, sometimes even 1. Not that we couldn't sell 5 or 6, but making sure that people can only get 1. Very much.
Because Future wants to just be the one guy in whatever tracksuit.
Sure.
Do you ever guide them where you're like, hey, actually, maybe Amiri motorcycle jeans, like maybe not the move anymore? I don't know.
If I'm close enough, yeah.
Okay. And they listen to you at this point because like you have that relationship.
Sure.
How important are VIP clients to just general retail, like right now?
They're very important.
Yeah.
They're very important. It's customers that are very loyal.
Right.
And, everybody throws everything at their face all the fucking time. So it's very important just to kind of, be there for them, not against them, just they're all looking for that.
Do you have a favorite celebrity or VIP client?
Who's the homie?
Favorite celebrity?
Who spends most?
Yeah, who's the biggest?
And then who
can I say that? I don't know. Yeah.
who unfolds everything and then just doesn't push it back?
Mostly everybody.
Yeah,
James Harden.
Sure. I mean, James Harden doesn't even, if I can say, he doesn't even try clothes. So,
Oh, no, wasn't that the whole thing? Our buddy worked at a store in New York. Picture in the new Future was in there shopping, and they were trying to get Future to try stuff on, and he goes, "I wear clothes every day." And
Yeah,
he's like
I
not
mean,
gonna try it on.
a lot of these customers I won't name by name, but
Right.
many of them don't try. They just trust
like-
that you have it in their size. You have it as my size. Boom, boom, boom. They look at the final rack and they go.
So when you're at a buying appointment, you see something amazing that you're like, okay, I can envision whoever wearing it, and you're purposely buying one. Like are you buying it with like someone in mind?
Very much.
So it's kind of like personal shopping
Very
amidst the general buy.
I think
for
it's also
the
what
customers.
kind of makes us successful is if I'm not traveling and I'm in LA, I usually spend most of my time in the stores. So I'm very in tune with everybody that walks in. I'm very in tune with everything that goes on. So even when I do my buying trips to Europe or Asia, I always, you have pretty much a good idea about who's buying what.
What brands right now are like really, really hot with the VICs?
Brands are really hot. Pally Hollywood is actually a very big one.
It's on like the rock star punk shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, crop tees and something that it's very easy.
I'm only aware of it because I feel like a lot of famous people, and I don't know if it has to do with the James Franco Association, but I feel like it's like almost like a celeb brand, right? By a celeb for celebs.
But brands that I'm
Fubu for famous
very
people?
excited about, they're a little bit more conceptual. Brands like Omar Afridi, it's a London-based brand. Charlie Constantino, he does like a lot of like very special dyeing workshops all around the globe. A brand called Prototypes, who are ex-Vetements designers who are really awesome.
In your opinion, what guys out there do you think like truly dress well because they have a personal sense of style versus like people that are just want like the newest and the latest, but because there's a difference, right?
Yeah, very much. I really like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, of
course,
from the OKC Thunder. Is a lot of these
Fly
guys,
super.
The king of aura.
listen to me. There's a lot of clients that have stylists. Not that they don't have personal style, just they don't have the time to go in and go to shops and all this stuff.
But he's putting in.
I mean, he's awesome.
He's thumbing through the rock.
I also really love Steph Diggs.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And
He was just at the Met Gala.
he was shopping with us since he was on the Vikings.
Oh wow.
I remember before he really got to
became a
where
superstar.
and
Is he the best dressed NFL player?
I think
Probably,
so.
right?
Yeah,
I think
probably.
so.
I think that's like the general consensus.
I actually think he's somebody that a lot of NFL players look after.
Oh, he's setting trends without it. I mean,
But
he's just
he's,
at the Met Gala, like
Also because he's not scared to put it on,
No,
And that's really what separates the front runners, the people that are followers.
the freedom to just be like, "Fuck it, I'm going to try a new thing."
Yeah.
How quickly are you locked in that somebody is like a sheep versus like trying to put shit on? And again, not naming names.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
Where's the Chrome Hearts?
Yeah.
How annoying is it to deal with celebrities though? Versus
Not
versus
so much.
versus normal
Listen to me,
citizens.
some of them can be very high maintenance, which is just part of the business.
Yeah.
We
The
are
cost of doing
in the business of service. So
Yeah, but like,
Occupational hazard.
but you're H.Lorenzo.
You take the good and the bad, but
All
it's
right.
something that I'm pretty immune to at this point.
What's some like annoying celebrity normie aside? What's just like annoying customer behavior that you see happening in the stores?
Something that ticks me off is basically if a customer, for one, takes off a garment off a hanger and then puts it back on the opposite way.
Oh
yeah, that's mad annoying.
And then you just walk to the space. You're like, dude, really? It's fun.
Also, having the hanger like it should be
just
this way, not under, right?
Just things like that.
Yeah.
Which can be very
What about when they take the hanger out through the collar and they like stretch the neck?
that too.
It's fucking
Or if
ridiculous.
we often get a lot of calls at the space of do you guys carry this brand or this brand? So we do have a web store. You can.
Oh, right.
you can
Just literally do your Googles. Don't
Yeah,
be so
sure.
lazy. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty obnoxious.
Yeah.
Guys, take notes.
Yeah, seriously. Well, you've seen a lot in your 20 years, half of H.Lorenzo's history. Was there ever a moment during like your tenure when the future of the store was in doubt?
Not necessarily. It was nothing that I personally really thought about. It was something that I've always tried to do it as presently as I possibly can. Just putting the work in, putting the passion in, and knowing, at least feeling that if I do it at least the way I saw it the right way, things would be good.
Okay. You think we'll ever see an H.Lorenzo in New York City or any other country?
We don't know. We are toying with the idea of opening something somewhere. Nothing I can really talk about just yet.
Okay.
We have done some pop-ups before. Like we recently did one last year in Mexico City.
How'd that go?
Awesome.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much for like a money thing. It was more just like a branding thing. We kind of felt like we had a very, very intersected community.
Sounds like you just wanted to hang out in Mexico City.
Say, someone wanted a vacation.
I love that city.
Yeah, it's great.
And we did it for about three months, which was awesome.
Oh, wow. That's like not even like a pop-up at that point. That's like a residency. Yeah, exactly.
And that was great. So we're talking with the idea of doing different pop-ups around the world, but something permanent, we'll see.
What do you think of the retail landscape in New York? We were kind of talking a little bit before we started about, places you've checked out, but like, we think it's gotten a lot better. We used to be hurting over here. But just from your perspective, like, what do you think of New York City?
I think it's also gotten a lot better. I walked around today. I mean, probably still one of my favorite stores here is the store called If.
Yeah, of course. Classic, dude.
They have like, a lot of brands with a lot of soul, things that, I personally love.
Yeah. A lot of avant-garde shit.
A lot of avant-garde shit. A lot of, just a lot of very interesting conceptual brands.
Yeah. Been around for a while.
Yeah, they've been around since a long, long time.
Yeah.
But then I walked around in Lower East Side today, went to Manhattan, went to Essex, went to this woman's one called, I think, Cafe Forget. Something.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I thought was great. They had a very interesting space. But it's gone a lot better for sure.
So you're pleasantly surprised, I guess.
Very much.
Okay.
But I felt like this for the last year and a half.
A lot of see-through sheer tops on the Instagram page.
But Lower East,
for sure.
but Lower East Side has become quite a vibe.
It's back again.
My good.
But does it almost feel too like Soho-y?
No. I
guess if they're smaller brands and shops. But
I mean, Soho feels very Soho.
Yeah.
A mall. It's an outdoor mall.
It's an outdoor mall.
Yeah.
But Lower East Side feels really nice.
Like better energy.
Better energy.
tourists,
Very
probably.
artistic, very interesting people.
What do you think as like, a retailer, a master retailer at that? Like, what do we think about Soho? Because like, obviously like a tourist is going to come and they're going to go where that high concentration of stores are, but like in brands. But what do you think when you stroll around there?
I mean, I think energetically it's undeniable.
Right.
It's just everything is happening. It's a great energetic pulse. There's obviously so much.
Too much?
But I feel like New York is too much.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's the beauty of the city.
Right.
Everyone is just fucking on top of each other. It's just that's what makes the energy
Literally
so,
and figuratively.
so crazy. Yeah.
The only person who walks in LA is Paul Pierce walking 8 miles to work today.
Paul Pierce and I'm probably one of the only people that walk in Los Angeles.
Oh,
You're
really?
a walker?
Well, I also live right in the center of everything.
Right.
So I'm a walker. Big time.
Yeah.
You're not afraid that people are going to judge you for being a broke boy because you're walking around? Okay.
I once made the mistake of trying to walk Laurel Canyon one time from
Yeah,
top
that-
to the
yeah,
jungle. I
that's
almost
too
died
early.
like 7 times. It's really terrible. It's terrible.
Okay.
What are the common mistakes you see when you're doing, let's not call it oppo research on other retailers, but like when you're, just scouting the scene, like what do you see retailers and you're like, that's a fucking L.
Red flag.
For me, if you wanna stay, I think we touched on this before. If you want to stay for a long term, it's just about not having a true identity. And I especially think if you're going to be a multi-brand type of, even to be honest, even a mono brand, but really something that's going to really work for the long term is really standing for something. And then obviously you can evolve, but just putting too many things in the same space is great. You can do a quick sale, but over time, it's not gonna. I think the consumer is not gonna connect to that.
Less is more, or is it really just identity?
It's just identity. I feel like identity is so important.
It's like a meme now of like, I think even like, probably specifically Lower East Side stores where it's like, every store has like the same kind of like, like coffee set up here and like magazine rack here, vinyl here, where it's like the identity is being shared. So then it is like worth nothing.
And really nowadays there's so much of everything.
Right.
And if you're really gonna, open something and really start something, you really need to stand out.
Yeah.
Zig where everyone is
do
zagging.
something that is a bit different. Like, every store now is doing all the same things with the events and this, and it's great, but it gets a bit watered down and people lose interest,
What's happening in retail that's exciting you? Because like, if it's not necessarily events or merchandising.
What's happening in retail that's exciting me? It's, for me, curation is very important. And just thinking about different ways of connecting to the consumer. It can be, something even maybe hosting like screenings. Like basically the idea is, you have your community they obviously like fashion, but what else are they interested in?
Right.
Maybe they're interested in these weird films. Maybe they're interested in this, and kind of just building that community.
Food,
whatever it may be. And just
Right.
kind of, so my customer likes this. What else do they like? And then you can do something that brings everyone together that really has absolutely nothing to do with fashion.
What
Right.
does the H.Lorenzo customer like? Like, what are their other interests? Can you describe your community?
For a time, they liked very much like techno culture.
Okay.
Which I feel like now is kind of getting a bit tired. But
Thanks, Burning Man.
Yeah. Thanks, Burning. And then, so we used to do a lot of those. Used to throw, like, this is maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. You throw
What,
like
like
a lot of raves, a lot of warehouse
Oh, shit.
parties. My women's buyer is a great DJ, so she used to kind of be our in-house DJ. We used to do like a lot of live streams on
Nice.
IG
Okay.
and things like that.
it's cheap too.
Yeah, I was going to say, put it in her job description.
And that was great for a time, but I'm just trying to figure out ways of evolving it.
Mm.
And they're doing a bit more dinners.
I was gonna say, let's get Mara Carbone up in that bitch.
Right. Are those
And,
dinners for like the VICs? Or is it like,
VICs, or it could be either stylists that work with us or
Okay.
our community,
The
or our
community, right,
customer
right,
base.
yeah. Gotcha.
And we just took an 8,000 square foot space in downtown,
Oh.
which we're going to be reopening our archive store.
Fire.
And that is a space that we finally have enough space that we're going to be doing a lot of special things in there. I think we're going to be, we have our archive, which obviously we've been around for 40 years.
Right.
So we're going to be changing it every 6 months, 7, 8 months, just to kind of go with, fashion changes so quickly nowadays.
How does something make it into the H.Lorenzo archive?
It's a feel.
Yeah.
So we have our warehouse, which just has obviously bins and racks of so many different things, and things that were maybe 10, 15, 20 years old feel very relevant today.
Yeah.
So before I came here, I just went in and just curated what's going to be the new archive, which we're opening in about a week.
Oh, shit. Congratulations.
Hopefully. Thank you so much. I'm very excited about it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Then we have another space, which we're going to be adding a furniture component. And then in that space, hopefully we're going to be doing things, like I said, like movie screenings and things of this sort.
You ever hit the dig in the bins yourself and just do a little shopping for Mac?
I have, not for me, but I was actually the one fucking opening every single bin and looking
Wow.
through everything.
How long of a process was that?
Very long. Took me about 2-3 days.
Okay.
But
Just
2-3
digging
days
things.
from 8 a.m. until
Right.
6 p.m.
But that's 2-3 days of shopping your own closet,
Yeah.
basically, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I found like old like McQueen and Jean
Oh,
Paul
wow.
Gaultier, and like even like old D squared and things which, back in the day were one, but nowadays they feel, I feel like
Yeah.
there's so much amazing design from the past, and we're so focused on now, new, and you almost forget about.
But there's also such a demand, I feel like, for the runway piece from 1995 or
For
whatever.
sure.
Like, oh, Tupac wore this Versace shirt
For sure.
or whatever.
And nowadays more than ever.
Yeah.
I feel like
And are celebrities kind of veering towards that, where they're like,
Very
we
much.
want the,
I mean,
because that's real true one of one.
there's a lot of shops. Even when I was walking through Lower East Side, there's a lot of spaces that offer it.
Right.
And there's so much even I found like mega old RAF and things like that. And
Yeah. You
customers
see
go-
ending soon?
Sorry,
Ending soon?
I don't know if I walked it through a bunch.
I think
of
they
them
just
today.
opened up a store in LA, but they have one here on Broome. You should check
Yeah.
that out. And Laura Kaleji as well.
Yeah.
One of my buddies just opened one called Wild West Social House.
Okay.
Here in New York?
He's going to apparently,
Okay.
but he has a space in LA, which is awesome.
Is the archive shoppable for customers, or is it just for like sourcing and referencing and loaning?
It's all shoppable.
Fire.
If we do anything, it's always going to be shoppable.
Dude,
There's only one-
everything's got a price.
yeah.
All right, Mac, big question. What are the plans for the next 40 years?
That's
Lay
a
out the blueprint, bro.
That's a big question. That I cannot touch on just yet.
It's 2055. What's going on? Are we underwater? Are we on fire?
Paint us a picture, bro.
Maybe we'll open a space on Mars. I don't know. Just really doing what I'm doing,
Okay.
and just doing it with as much passion. as
Can we
I
talk about this
possibly-
passion? Like, when did you first fall in love with retail? Because obviously it runs in the family and you were, put in this context at a young age, but when did it like click for you?
I think for me, it was not even so much retail. I think I first fell in love with fashion when I went to Japan with my father for my first time.
How old were you?
Probably 13 or 14.
Oh,
That
wow.
shit will, that's
So
like a good impressionable age.
That was like almost 25 years ago.
What was popping off in Japan 25
I
years
think
ago?
it was Fashion Week, and my father invited me to go on a buying trip with him.
Fire.
And it
It's
was
a nice
the-
little mitzvah right there, dude.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I went with him. And it was, I think, the first time me and him had a trip alone together, if I remember.
Real bonding.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's kind of what bonded both of us is our passion and our love for this industry.
Yeah.
And we went, and I went with him and met with a lot of his community and all his, friends in the industry. And I visited him. I went with him to bunch of showrooms. I remember I was super young, just watching him do his thing. And at the time, I think I remember him going to visit this brand called Kimono Morishita, which was, I don't think exists anymore, but it was an amazing brand from Japan. Also this brand Number 9, which,
Of course.
which now obviously is the Soloist. And but just being in the showrooms with him, watching the whole process kind of really inspired me. Also just being in Tokyo and just seeing, fashion was such a thing over there.
So you were never the kid that was like, oh, my dad's a loser.
Yeah, no.
You're like, this guy's the coolest guy.
Yeah.
Cool dad.
And came back to LA and felt very inspired. I was still in
Japan will do that to you.
I think I was still in middle school at the
Yeah,
time.
you're probably 8th grade, dude.
Or something.
I'm dropping out. I'm
but
going
it was
pro.
something that was kind of the first one. I was like, okay, I think I actually like this.
Yeah.
And then was in school and I started working, I think when I was in 11th grade in high school. And like I said, I was started in the stock and been doing 7 days a week ever since.
Here we are.
What's your day-to-day like your actual job today, H.Lorenzo, now that you're no longer the stock boy?
Yeah. A lot of things. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate that I have developed a really good team. You know, if we look back like 7, 8, 9 years ago, I used to kind of do almost every position. But now I've really, really brewed a really good team, everything from creative content with socials to selling to the only thing I still do everything hands-on is buying. But my day-to-day is kind of have my meetings, have my Zooms with the creative team.
You're an email guy?
No. Okay. Not at all. I've a bit too much ADD for emails, and I also get about fucking 75 emails a day. It's like I can't. I'll basically sip through them. If I see anything important, I'll look, but I get too many.
Hop on Zoom.
Mostly you're just hitting delete button.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Not even. It's just
spam.
Like,
how many unread emails do you have right now?
Tens of thousands.
Cool.
Let's go. Man after my own heart.
How many unread texts do you have?
Ooh.
Not that many.
Okay.
It's funny. Something that I used to be much better at, but I can definitely. Sometimes I'm mega busy, and I will definitely.
You got other priorities now. You got a kid on the way.
Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah.
All right. So, if emails are your least favorite part of the job, what's your favorite part of the job? And you can't say the people.
My favorite part of the job would probably be traveling the world and discovering new talents, which is
that sounds fun.
Always very, very fulfilling.
Yeah.
And just, I always find that some of the, we carry obviously a lot of bigger brands, but I oftentimes feel that the younger brands really have the most soul.
Right.
Because they don't need to make money for the masses and they're the most creative. So really going around the world and discovering undiscovered talents and putting them on a platform.
What's the process of doing that? Is it just like boots on the ground, or is it like getting, connected through, people that have already kind of been vetted by you? It's like, oh, meet my homie who has a new thing.
Either way, it can be very organic. Like obviously I do a lot of research before. Obviously I have a lot of friends in the industry, which they'll maybe recommend me something that they've been looking at, or my staff who's very in tune with what's going on. They'll maybe put something in my sphere, and it can be a brand that doesn't sell to, which I almost prefer.
Really?
That doesn't sell to one store in the world.
Oh, sure.
And I just need to kind of respect their point of view, and their branding needs to be on par with our branding. Like we carry a lot of different brands and a lot of different aesthetics, but it just needs to kind of work. Like my process, I see a brand, I like it, then I'll first go to their social, see if the branding is something that I do connect to, that will connect. Because obviously if I'm going to be pushing them on our channels, my customer is going to go to their channels and see if it's something that just feels within
So if a brand has a whack IG, red flag.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay.
As a buyer, what brand have you brought in recently that maybe you were a little nervous on or unsure, but it actually performed very well?
I wouldn't say, I can't really say anything now. I mean, I'm pretty in tune with everything that I do bring in today.
Yeah.
I do remember probably around 2013, 2014. I remember the first time I brought in Fear of God.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Because of the last name?
No.
For Lorenzo?
It was just that we were, fashion was in such a different moment of the world. It was kind of when we were doing a lot of very conceptual, it was kind of dying out a little bit, but when like Rick Owens kind of influenced, at the time, those 10 years of all these designers coming after him, and my community and my client base was so in tune with that. And this is then Ye came on the market and he started influencing all these different creatives, Jerry, Virgil, Matthew Williams, whatever. And it was something that I was a bit nervous about because I wasn't sure how my current community would react.
You're like, this is too wearable.
Is it because of the skinhead vibes?
Just aesthetically, because it was, from the dark phase to the streetwear was a very, very interesting transition. And a lot of stores that were like mine, like even the store that we just talked about in New York, and a lot of stores didn't want to change. I felt obviously with fashion, you also have to evolve.
Yep.
If you want to, fashion changes, you have to evolve.
So that was a risk to kind of like to go with the aesthetic shift.
It was a risk, but it was something that I felt. And
are we talking about, just real quick, are we talking about like the first collection that was like flannels and thermals and
I think we brought this had
white
to
guys
be,
in a truck?
I want to say it had to be like 2013, 2014. And I think I was one of the first stores at Stockholm. I think it was me, Barney's, maybe Union, I think Union 424, I think. And we brought them in. I was started getting a lot of calls from everyone. You guys carry fear of God. You carry fear of God.
Wow.
You carry fear of God. I was like, what the fuck what is this? And it was so we brought it in. We did a pop-up with him. And we called
Lorenzo
it,
in the Benzo.
it called, we took out the H and we called it H.Lorenzo.
Nice.
Which
Makes
was,
sense.
at the time, it was fucking crazy. And it was me working with Jerry, very closely and really to see how his mind worked.
Yeah.
And he was like a social media fucking giant. And then it was our first taste into this, this new consumer, the ones that would wait in line for fucking 2 days for a drop and this sort. Some it made me a bit nervous because, like I said, I wasn't sure how my current clientele would react, but I just felt like something was brewing here, and
The energy was
And
there,
is that
bubbling.
Is that like streetwear energy, like that kind of transition from like the high avant-garde into like more
very much
wearable?
And then that was, I will say that Ye kind of he really changed fashion.
Yeah. Oh, he changed.
He
for sure.
He really
He stays changing. Yeah.
And I even have a story of him, coming into our space, and he was telling me and my pop, I'm gonna change fashion. We're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're gonna change fashion. Watch, I'm gonna change fashion.
Right.
And he had so much fucking influence and and he kind of brought everybody into this space. He brought everyone. He was obviously a very ambitious person. He started with his sneaker.
Yeah.
He brought all this huge music following into fashion with that sneaker. And then he gave him a sweatshirt. Then he gave him a t-shirt. And then
was he like a shopper? Did he like spend money, or was he more just like a browser? Window shopper?
at the time, he was a little bit more of a window shopper.
Okay. Interesting.
Kind of seeing what was going on and
doing his research.
And it was great. It was a very interesting time because, fashion was it was a very confusing point because now you have all these very established, amazing brands who were so confused because the consumer was just completely, it was different.
We want joggers.
Yeah.
And then you had all these incredible conceptual designers who were now trying to like design like Off-White or this because they just had it to kind of stay afloat. And it was a very strange time.
So did your customer base get like younger kind of like overnight then?
It got younger. I mean, we still had obviously our customer base,
right.
But when you're kind of bringing in something new, you're taking a risk.
Where do you think? So if that was like your transition into quote unquote streetwear, where do you think we are now? Because it feels like we are generally transitioning past like hype sneakers.
Yeah, that
logo mania. Like, where do you think are we in a transitionary period now? Like, what do you think is ahead for the general landscape?
I think we've been in a transition period.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say at least for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of those customers just want to kind of clean up a little bit and they want to start looking like adults.
They're aging out of that previous era.
Listen, there's still the customer that obviously still wants the pounce, still wants all the patchwork and all the very noisy type of clothing. But we transition, and I think fashion is actually it's at a healthy place again.
Why is that?
I just feel like there's real design coming back.
And that's what they want to spend their money on.
Yeah, just people, the times of everyone just buying everything just
to have it.
Listen, it was good for business, but everybody was buying gear just for one fit.
That bummed you out?
But no, it did bum me out. It was great for business, but now it's kind of, people want to buy things that last.
Well, it's almost like
it allows me to buy things that I'm much more connected with.
And in this like reset moment, you need that identity, like you were saying, or that point of view where you're not just like, you need to offer something that is unique, right? Because everyone's kind of moving past just like the mass, like, this logo, this piece, or how much this cost.
Yeah.
Now we want pleated basketball shorts.
Yeah. And that's something which we always do. We always, like I said, a lot of stores carry a lot of similar brands, but we at least attempt to buy things that are very unique and things that you really can't find anywhere. And obviously, we live in a great market like LA where we can take those risks and we can buy runway pieces, things that are obviously very much for stage, for videos, and things that are very strong. So we really, even within certain buys, we buy things in a very different way.
The shit that no one else, they don't know. Like,
even listen, I even oftentimes buy things that I most likely probably won't sell, but it's also almost like a little advertisement. It's almost just for the environment.
Oh. So it's like you're buying it for the merchandising of the space.
Sure.
Or of the brand.
And weirdly enough, eventually it does sell. But
in the archive sale.
But yeah.
10 years later.
But sometimes I really, just the environment of your space is very important just because you want to stand out.
Well, like throughout these transitions, throughout your time there, like what's the most consistent brand? You mentioned that Yoji and Issei have been like with you the longest, but like what just sells is all reliable?
Let me think. Something that's been continuously going for a long time. I would say when you just touched on, definitely Yoji.
Yeah.
It always has his,
because he has his crows.
He has his crows and he has his following.
Yeah.
There's brands that always have just that cult following. Another one is probably like Walter Van Burendock.
Okay. Legend.
Who I love. It's not for everybody, but he has his fans. He has his fans, and they want to own something from every. Until he stopped, obviously, Raph was another one.
Right. Were you surprised when he retired the Raph Simmons brand?
I was a bit surprised. I
think a lot of people were shocked. Right?
I was a bit surprised. He was definitely one of my favorite.
He quit while he was hot, kind of.
Like Seinfeld. I wouldn't rule out if he was going to bring back his namesake label at some point
when he's done with Prada.
Yeah. Or maybe but I kind of feel like he wanted a break and to focus on what he's doing now, but I wouldn't be surprised. But he's amazing.
Well, welcome him back with open arms because I'm sure he's listening right now. Shout out Raph.
Is there anyone of all like the recent fashion designer kind of shuffle? Like, is there anyone you're really excited as we enter buying season? Like, you're really excited to see?
I'm very excited at Glenn Martens at Margiela.
Oh yeah, that felt like a perfect match.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember Glenn when he used to be. I don't know if you guys know this, but before Y Project, there was the original label was called Johan Sarfati.
Okay.
And Johan Sarfati was this master tailor and Glenn was his assistant. And I used to, remember I used to go buying, I was still very young when I used to still buy with my pop and everything. And I went to, I used to go to nice to see Glenn alongside with Johan. And then Johan, died from illness. And then, they put Glenn in there to kind of breathe life into the brand. And then he took it on to, Johan Sarfati used to be very like darky, a lot of leather, a lot of things of this sort. And if Johan only knew what Glenn did to his brand, he might wake up from the grave.
Thigh high Uggs?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, what the fuck happened?
Why?
But Glenn's amazing. After he kind of broke out of this whole, there was the whole Vetements craze. And I would say, Rick was the most influential designer for those 10 years. I would say like Demina.
Right.
Influence, the next generation.
You think Glenn Glenn's up next for real? In terms of influence?
Glenn, not sure yet, but we'll see.
The diesel shit is huge. I mean, the diesel shit is for you, probably.
I don't think it takes a very special designer to make diesel relevant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Renzo tried a few different designers. He was doing a lot of different, capsules with, I think, Samuel Ross and a few other people.
Yeah.
And Glenn really, he's a true designer. And there's not too many of them anymore.
When is the first Margiela shit, like his stuff debuted? You know?
I don't know exactly. I can't.
Probably soon,
I don't know
right?
if it's June or September.
I think that appointment kind of has flown under the radar because it was made before the whole like J.W. Anderson, Mathieu Blazy shuffle. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of
it should be. It's something I'm very excited. It just feels very, very aligned.
Yeah. What bricks in H.Lorenzo? What fucking sucks? Sales wise,
brands. To be honest,
category maybe?
Yeah, maybe you could go category.
Nothing I mean, I'm not just saying it. Nothing really.
Yeah?
I mean, really everything. Like it's not really certain brands that work well. They just all kind of.
All right.
It almost like we have a lot of different brands, but they almost really, to me, feel like one brand. They all kind of work well. Some work a little better than the others, but everything works pretty well.
You don't last to 40 with fucking bricks, right?
Yeah.
What about okay? So H.Lorenzo mentioned how is your dad still involved?
Yeah, I mean a little bit less, but he's still. Like when we're like building this new archive space, like he has,
he wants some input.
He's
he
obviously
can't actually retire.
He's very involved in that, and we still do buying together.
Nice.
And he's someone that I respect very, very, very much.
Does
And
the student become the master?
Yeah.
I won't speak of that for myself, but I do my best.
Does he, are you ever in an appointment and he's like, you're almost like, pipe down, Pops, I got this? Like, is he trying to get back in the game a little bit?
Like, no, Dad, it's true. The kids fuck with Diesel now.
Yeah, right. I promise.
Sometimes, but we kind of think the same.
Okay.
What's the best thing about working with family?
I mean, sometimes in the beginning, me and my father, our egos would kind of, he has an ego, I have an ego
You have
in
to.
business.
Sure.
And, sometimes we've kind of learned to work very well together.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it, it's something that we really, I touched on it before, something that bonded us very much from an early age.
Yeah.
And we think the same. We're more or less, in terms of the way we think about work, we're more or less the same taste, same everything.
Are there other Hadars in the business?
My older brother.
Okay.
So he works with the e-com and things of that sort.
He's the nerd.
Yeah. He used to wear glasses. No.
So when you first started working the shop, and forget like doing fucking stock and inventory in the back, when you were given a role of importance, what was the first big initiative that you wanted to take on and really tackle or change or evolve about the H.Lorenzo empire?
The first role of importance, I think it was, me and my brother used to work together, and then he went off and did his own thing for a few years. And then it was kind of when everything kind of went on my shoulders. And I kind of work really well under pressure.
Okay.
So I started developing this whole team under me, and we just did a lot of really great things. And that was something that was like a good 5-6 year run.
So it's really everything?
We did a lot of great things. We had just opened this new men's space, which we still have today, which is kind of my main space, which I usually spend most of my time in. And at the time we got like a Nike account. We did a lot of good brands.
And that's shit that you did, like you spearheaded like the tier 0 Nike account.
Yeah, me and my team.
Gotcha. How do you hire when it comes to like being a part of your team? What's the process?
It's funny. Typically my interviews are very, very short.
Okay.
I can tell within the first 45 seconds.
Does their fit matter?
No.
Really? Come on.
Not really. I mean, if they're coming in a very interesting way, maybe, but
you're like, I checked out your IG, was whack. Get out of here.
But I really, when I hire, I talk about everything except the job, just to see how they do within a conversation. You can tell right away.
It's like cultural fluency, almost like
just how comfortable they are, the way they look, the way they talk, and we'll speak about everything that is not the job, and just to see how and then if it's something that I feel like, because obviously in this business, depending on the position you're hired for, I'm literally talking about maybe someone on the sales floor, things like that. It's really it's a people's thing.
Gotcha.
You got to be comfortable with people. You got to be confident. Obviously, you have to have some knowledge, but you can really see how you have to see how street smart you are.
Right.
And then after I feel like they're someone for the space, then we'll talk about positions and blah, blah, blah.
Where they fit in. Yeah.
Is H.Lorenzo kind of like we talked about a mutual homie that used to work with you guys that is now doing awesome things. Shout out Maddie. Is H.Lorenzo like an incubator space for like just talent in the industry?
We've definitely had a lot of people work there, have done great things. I just had a coffee with Maddie this morning. What's up, Maddie?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was working for us for a few years, and from us, then he moved to New York, started working at DSM. I think he was a sneaker buyer for DSM.
Yep.
And then eventually started, I think he joined this brand Sky High.
Yep.
And they've done everything from like cause collabs, Nike, and things like that. Super proud of him.
Yeah.
Shout out Mr. Fresh.
He's the best.
Absolutely.
Great guy.
Can we ask a question that's kind of pressing and topical? What do you think like these Trump tariffs how do you think they're going to affect retailers?
I'm mega confused
You and
about
everyone
what
else.
the fuck is going on. I'm hoping they're not going to last for too long. I mean, listen, if we do carry some things that are from China, which I think is like 130 or 140%. So
probably like 250 by the time this comes out.
So let's say we do, if I do a 10K buy on a brand, I got to pay 15K just on tariffs alone. So I'm a bit confused about how that's going to play out.
So you, the retailer, when you're bringing in the order from China, you have to pay whatever percentage tax.
Yeah, it's basically,
customs
I mean, and typically like import, you'll pay like 30, whatever, some percent to bring something in, not to pay 140. So I'm not going to bring it in with that price. So either have them hold it, hopefully the tariffs come down, and I'll have to sell at a different time.
In terms of finding like a new brand, let's say that was like coming over from China, that obviously is giving you pause now for maybe bringing in like new Chinese talent.
At the moment, yeah, it's very tricky.
Really?
And even stuff from Europe, obviously the tariff's a little higher, and we're just going to have to reduce our or reduce our profit. I don't care. It's fine. It's so time being.
Have you seen customer behavior change with like all this uncertainty?
Not really.
People are still copping.
People still copping.
Still need to get fits off, dude.
Still need to get fits off.
Regardless.
Fashion,
You wanna look-
come on.
You want to look good for the fucking end of the
Yeah.
world, dude,
Yeah.
right? Come on.
No, I
man.
haven't seen. The only time we felt business kind of getting a bit weird was obviously after the fires.
Oh,
Oh,
That was a very strange couple months.
we're not people not like I need a whole new
Everyone,
wardrobe.
well, I had a few people coming in like, dude, I lost everything. I need fit. I was like, oh shit. I felt so fucking bad for
Right.
everybody. And it was very, very, very strange time for LA.
what's the vibe now? Because like it's funny because the fires really are not front of mind here in New York. But anytime we talk to someone, well, we potted with someone and he's like, we asked about his art collection. He's like, yeah, I lost it. It all burned up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
fuck. Sorry, bro.
the
Forgot
vibe
about
now
that.
is it's getting better.
Okay.
I mean, LA's kind of went through a kind of a strange period, especially after COVID and
Mhm.
after all the BLM things. But it's slowly kind of getting its foot back.
Okay.
You know, LA used to be really international. It was, in my opinion, it was kind of the center of the world for not a long time, but for a short period of time, even the center of fashion. We had all
Oof.
these designers coming out of there.
Of
Right,
course,
right.
you'd fucking think that being from LA.
Yeah. LA guy mentality, dude.
And,
LA brain.
And for a short period of time, but then after all that, it got a bit weird. Business was still great, but just the city got weird.
I mean, there is a lot of talent from the
Yeah.
left coast. I mean,
Yeah.
when you think about like, we mentioned H.Lorenzo, but like John Elliott, smaller brands like
There was a lot,
Second
and there was a
Layer,
lot of, there was a lot of people
Chrome.
coming from Europe just to see what was going on in LA. There was something brewing there.
You have a lot of international shoppers at H.Lorenzo.
We do.
You're like, would you say you're a destination shop? So people are traveling, they're in LA, they're obviously going to hit the obvious places. You think like H.Lorenzo is like,
If
That's on
you're
that list?
if you're into fashion and the kind of brand
Yeah.
mix that we do, yeah, for sure.
Um,
We've had a lot of, we have loyal customers who've been shopping for fucking 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are there any small brands or emerging talent in LA that have caught your eye?
In LA, there are a few. There's a new brand we picked up called S95, which do a lot of leather work, which has
Okay.
been working very well for us. Another brand, which we're going with a brand called Secret Saints.
okay.
They do a lot of kind of really good denim and good leather work as well, but those have been working very well.
I mean, leather and denim I feel like are fucking LA
Never,
staples.
Yeah, right.
For production.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of like the average personal style in Los Angeles? This is a topic of contention where I think James and I are too harsh
Yeah.
on the LA dresser, but what do you think?
I mean, it's a bit, I wouldn't say it's necessarily one thing, but it's very casual. People just want to be fucking basics, very casual.
You don't sell tailoring?
We do a little bit. I've actually been
Okay.
wanting to bring in a little bit more, which it's actually been working much better for us. Like I always loved tailoring, but my customer wasn't
Right.
too,
They want a
to
t-shirt.
connect to it. It was, everyone just wants a fucking hoodie, a t-shirt.
Yeah, but now that people are quote unquote growing up or want to dress,
Yeah.
maybe smarter,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, like, do you think that that's maybe a move that you're gonna?
Yeah, I mean, I've been
Dip your
doing
toe
it
into?
for the last few seasons already. Is bringing a lot more tailoring,
Interesting.
and there was a moment where you couldn't sell enough hoodies, couldn't sell enough t-shirts, couldn't sell enough sweatpants,
Right.
and obviously it's not that interesting as a curator, but
Right.
you have to find things that you feel that have enough soul that obviously the customer will like.
Right. The push
Um,
and pull of soul.
Yeah. But the generalization,
Yeah.
it's very casual.
As a buyer, because you are like in that position because of your vision and you are seeing everything months, if not years ahead of the general public, do you feel like you have to like make a buy on a category, like for example, tailoring? Like, look, people might not be ready for it right now, but if we start like prepping them and merchandising the space and complementing, everything that's on the racks that people are buying, maybe like, do you have to trust yourself that like it's going to take a little bit of time for the customer to catch on?
Very much. Like you always have to educate your customer as someone in
Right.
my position or other people's
Yeah.
position. You have to educate your customer, and you see things. Being that obviously I'm in this space, I see what people are looking at, feeling, and if I feel if I'm sick of something right now, I know my customer's going to be sick of it in 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah.
So I can almost have like a little head start.
Right.
And if I feel something is going to be big, it might take a season or two for it to catch on. But I will definitely invest in it and try to educate. And you educate some. Sometimes it's you miss,
Right.
but with time, it's very important just to kind of stay one step ahead of the curve.
How patient can you be though? Because this is money we're talking about.
If
right?
it's
Like,
something that's not working for a couple, it's happened before. Something that's not worked for a couple seasons, then you tried, and not everything's going to be a home run. But it's when you go buying, and you have to buy things 6 months in advance,
Right.
And every fashion moves so quickly nowadays. So it's not like before, like everyone
Right.
wants new. And so, you kind of have to really feel what your customer or what the mood is going to be in 6 months.
Are you satisfied with this current system, or do you almost wish it was kind of back like with your dad with the cash and carry?
No, I'm satisfied with it.
Yeah.
I mean, cash and carry is easier, of course. But, you really know if something's going to work the minute it hits the floor. Like when you get it, you're like, okay. But I'm pretty, I've done it for a long time. I'm pretty in tune with what I think will work, what won't.
What's a recent thing where it was just an instant smash?
Just certain brands. I can't name them off the top of my head, but certain things that I found, which were like, I just felt like something that my customer is going to very much connect to this.
Yeah.
And I brought it in and even something I'll put a really big budget behind something that I really believe in, and it works. It's very satisfying.
And sometimes it maybe doesn't work, but rarely. Your batting average is pretty fucking
more wins than losses for sure.
What are some? So you mentioned like things you're sick of now. People will be maybe moving away from 4 to 5 to 6 months from now. What are you sick of right now?
Something that I've never really used in our space, but something I really just like the overusage of logos.
Oh yeah,
something that we've never really done, but it's just something that
you never had to when it was like
not really. It's never something that it was something that we never really brought in the space, but I don't know, just something that I feel just it's so fucking
looking
flat.
for the logo section.
That was
that
was such a thing. I feel like where high fashion brands were like, oh, people want T-shirts and hoodies.
and
like let's just slap a logo on a $500 hoodie or T-shirt.
It just like no. I don't know.
Do you think that the bigger houses are moving away from that, or are we still in a fucking logo pandemic?
It depends on the house, but I think everyone's moving away from that. I think also the bigger houses, you can even see by the appointments of all these new creatives.
Yeah.
Is they want there was a time where all the big houses had all these very safe hires, and then they started positions in things like Demna, Balenci, or all these different positions,
younger, riskier hires,
and really understand that that's where the new generation was connecting to.
Do you think customers are, when it comes to these houses, are they house loyal? Or are they now becoming more like designer loyal, where it's like, I fuck with LeBron, whether he's on the Heat?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Okay.
I think one of the difficulties with houses is they have to satisfy both.
Right.
Because then a big designer will come into a house and he'll do his imprint, but then that's why I was talking about the younger designers. They don't have to appeal to everybody. That's what makes them the most creative and the most interesting to buy.
Right.
But the big houses, they have to make money for the men, and then they have to put out this creative energy, but they also have to satisfy the older customer. So
there's also the masses, right? Like we were at the Louis show a year ago, and the VIC, there's the media VIPs, whatever, attendees, and then there are the VIC attendees, and those guys fucking love a logo. My goodness.
It was wild.
It's funny. I was at the I think I was at the LV show last season, and you just see all the big, they obviously have all their customers from God knows where. Everyone's just fucking decked out in like
Russia.
Giant Louis crystal jackets. I was like,
waiting for their chance to get their picture taken at the step.
This fucking guy from Texas just like decked out. I was like, he's definitely a big customer. Okay, gotcha.
That's a house loyal person, presumably.
Yeah, so it's that's the thing with big houses.
Right.
They have to. I mean, some of the stuff they do and a lot of the creatives are awesome, but not everything they put out is going to be amazing because they have to satisfy.
Those guys mix the skateboard P with the virtual,
and they got so many people to listen to.
Yeah. You got to satisfy the oil guys in Dallas.
Yeah,
dude, you got the bread, dude.
What do you think? All right, moving away from stuff you're maybe not into, where do you think menswear is heading this summer?
I mean, I'm not so big on trends, but things that I personally do like, because I like very simple product with beautiful shapes.
Okay. Silhouette. You're a silhouettes guy.
Yeah. It's just something that, very clean. Like I think things are definitely moving cleaner. For sure. Obviously, once you feed something so much of something, the customer behavior just wants the opposite.
Palette cleanser.
Big pants.
Big pants. I mean, we've had a lot of big pants for a second. I almost thought for a second it was going to get a little bit more tailored, and I did buy a little more tailoring, but then I still have a lot of demand for big shapes and things like that. So, but I like really big silhouettes, like really big jackets. And
right. What's the skinny jeans offering at H.Lorenzo?
We don't got too many.
Really?
Okay. Were you a little nervous there that skinny jeans were about on the precipice of coming back?
It wasn't my skinny jeans. It was more of like, skinny trousers.
Okay.
Even worse.
Yeah. Denim is
that's NFL player shit.
Yeah. Denim is we never really taught the skinny jean thing is a little bit after the whole heady, fucking Dior, Saint Laurent, Celine thing. I don't know. It feels a little. It's very not my customer.
Okay. You don't think heady boys are back in full effect?
I think a lot. I mean, there's obviously a big. He still has a big fan base,
Sure,
but
yeah,
but I
of
feel
course.
like they eventually evolved into something else.
Right. Let's talk about your personal style, Mac. If you could only wear just one designer, head to toe, for the rest of your life, who are you going with?
Probably Yoji.
Yeah.
Is he most represented in your closet?
Him, yeah, and I buy a lot of very simple, like small Japanese designers. But Yoji, in terms of one of the bigger brands that most people would know, probably him.
Do you have a lot of Yoji in the archive? Because I might be fucking popping out for that.
I do actually.
Ooh.
I have a lot of Yoji. I have a lot of Ys.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's we're wise men.
Yeah.
Right there,
because
dude.
it's cheaper.
But I'm into a lot of very kind of smaller Japanese brands, like this new brand discovered called Stein,
Yes, dude, the best.
Stein. 3 S's.
which I love.
Yeah.
Started bringing them in the last couple of seasons. Another brand called Nanamika.
Yeah, of course.
They
Classic.
have a store here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I love.
For the 2 days it rains in LA.
But they're awesome, and I brought them into the space too last season. But a lot of these brands which don't perform the best, but it's nice just to have that section for.
Is that because that is a product category? This next generation of Japanese brands, like we talked about Stein, we talked about like Kale is there. We love Kale. Like, is that not hitting in LA? Because it feels like it's hitting.
It's
in New York
hitting,
for
but
sure.
keep in mind my market is still predominantly artists and athletes,
Right.
and they want
Athletes can't fit in the Japanese.
They can, but that's one. But they also want they want things with maybe a little bit more design focused.
Yeah,
And they have
flair.
so much already, and they want things
Right.
they can wear to games and be on stage and things like that, which is kind of my market, which I cater to, which I love still. But more so for my personal style, it would be these types
Right.
of brands, which is more uniform driven.
Right. What do you, so can you reel off some of your favorite brands right now? Like besides Yoji. Oh, by the way, have you ever hung out with Yoji or met the guy?
I met him.
You ever smoked cigs with him?
I've not, but I've been wanting to.
Oh yeah,
He's on what, like 2 packs a day?
yeah. He's
He's 80 something.
He's a dart
still
blaster.
smoking.
yeah.
Maybe give some life to the smokers out there. But some of my favorite brands, I've been really into this new brand called Setchu.
Okay.
It's
Is it
it's a
Japanese?
Japanese designer, but he won like the LVMH prize.
Oh, shit.
And he's amazing. It's not so obvious when you first look at it, but you start looking at the functionality and the details. He's incredible. It's like a Japanese mentality with Italian craftsmanship.
Is that like these smaller Japanese brands where it is like, the beauty is in like the small details or the cut or the textile, not necessarily like the most obvious shit. Is that like customer education that you feel
Very
you
much.
have to like press upon, like
That
whether it's
is-
athletes or celebs or
like
normies?
there are a lot of brands that we do stock that does take a little bit more of a conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially in the States, as everything is very fast paced.
Right.
It's not like Europe where, you have to talk through, it works better for sales as we have a lot of very impulsive shoppers and come in, boom, boom, boom. I have 20 minutes. But this looks good. Give it to me. Get out.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. And some of these other designers take a bit more of a conversation. There's much
course.
more layering involved,
Yeah.
which is great, but it's just
Yeah.
much more of a conversation.
That's got to be one of the best parts of the job.
Yeah, it's great. And it's kind of something similar to, when you sell a piece of jewelry, it's not something that is, oop.
Oh, blowing up.
And then, but yeah,
What the fuck was I going to ask? Oh, what are your thoughts on like the retail experience in Japan?
fucking love it.
Yeah. Do you try to bring any of that over to H.Lorenzo, or is it kind of like different cultures? Different?
I do. Before my time, my father was one of the biggest pioneers of Japanese brands. There's a lot of brands that we started bringing in that kind of really broke here in the States.
Really?
But when
Nice.
I personally go there, and it's probably one of the only places I shop outside of my space. And it's just, one, the prices are insane.
Yeah.
And two, it's just very. What's nice is you don't have to look through too much. Everything is whether it's your aesthetic or not. Everything is very, very tasteful.
Do you prefer the big department stores in Japan or like the small, like?
I like them all. Like I've been like going to United Arrows
Yeah.
or even just finding all the very kind of little small little shops. But everything is very uniform driven,
Yeah, all 20 different
and
themes is.
it's awesome. It's like really, I go there. I buy like 3-4 empty suitcases. I
Oh.
try to go to Japan at least once a year. Buy 3-4 empty suitcases, fucking
Right. Fill it up.
pack the shit out and ship it.
When new customers meet you and you're clearly like this uniform driven guy, and very Japanese inspired in your personal style, do you think they're surprised that you're like this
Some-
like
some-
low key kind
some-
of tasteful dresser versus
some-
like
Yeah, sometimes very much. I was like, dude, how come you're, I'll be showing them all this crazy gear.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what the fuck you wearing?
Yeah.
But I think also
Where's the Loewe logo?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but I think for me, when I was much younger, I used to be very much into, I still have in my closet a lot of very eccentric, very avant-garde types of things. But I think over time, when you're in this industry, you kind of just evolve into just...
It's like every designer you see has kind of like a uniform or like,
Basically.
there's like, and then the creative director, artistic director look like, it's kind of like, it's almost like you need it's a function informed thing, right? Where it's like, you're not necessarily going on stage.
Yeah. And it's just,
whatever.
obviously I love beautiful clothes and I respect a lot of creatives and everything. It's not something I would necessarily put on myself.
Right.
But obviously I can appreciate it and
And sell it.
Yeah.
Is that something you had to train yourself, or it's like, I'm not buying for me, I'm buying for like the customer? Or
Over
the general-
time, that's one of the hardest things about being a buyer. A few mistakes which I made very early on is, when you first start buying something that over time you kind of get it.
Right.
But I used to kind of, buy things that I only liked.
Yeah.
Projection.
Which is, when my stores are pretty big. So I remember 6 months later, I came in and I was like, fuck, the whole store looks like one design, it was
like my
and I
closet.
was like, fuck, I fucked up, And then over time through those trials and tribulations, I kind of understood and, certain things, listen, every buyer for every store, the store more or less, you're going to have those feelings of the person who's curating it. But it's obviously very important to not only buy what you like, what your customer likes, most importantly about just what feels very relevant for your brand as an overall umbrella.
So how do you judge a buyer's like skill set? Because it is, like you said, they are imprinting part of their taste onto the buy. How do you know what that is?
It's a
when you hire
very
them?
it's a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of it really took me about 4 or 5 years until I really dialed in exactly what I was doing. Obviously, I had, I have my taste, which is good enough. I had a good business sense. And just that whole combination with also being very enriched in this industry and obviously understand what's, which direction I want to go to. It, but just took a lot of experience.
Well, Mac, let's hope that your dad isn't listening to this next question, because we want to know, how frequently do you dip into the store inventory so that Mac can stay Mackin'?
Say that again?
How frequently are you shopping and maybe giving yourself the nice little employee discount for your own racks?
Typically, if I do see something that I do like, I usually make a personal order.
The old personal.
All personal order.
Okay. All right.
The old PO.
Yeah.
Do you have a style phase? You mentioned kind of how you maybe once upon a time you were into like the big logo shit. Do you have a style phase, and do you look back on it and cringe, or you're like, you know what? I needed to go through that to like arrive to where I am today.
Or you're putting that shit
Probably,
on.
yeah. Probably, it was probably the only time I've ever worn denim in my entire life.
Really? Whoa.
Was the first time I owned a pair of Hedi Slimane Dior jeans,
Okay.
Bro.
which, that was probably the phase that I liked Hedi the most.
Yeah.
But
Did they pair well with the Balenciaga arenas?
I think I was wearing like a fucking Dior white shirt with a little B on it or something, which
You were a heady boy before heady boys.
but it didn't last too long. I think it was maybe a good like 6
You don't wear
months.
jeans?
Never. I don't own a pair of jeans.
Why?
That's crazy.
I haven't owned one in fucking 10, 12, 15 years. I don't know. It's just something that I don't connect with.
Doesn't work well with your free balling lifestyle.
Very much.
That's true. Do you never wear underwear?
It's something that only started last couple of years.
Bro, was your wife like, bro, I can see your fucking sack. If we're gonna have a kid together, you got to start wearing underwear.
Please.
One less thing to wash. It's good.
Yeah, true. Very true. It's hard to be a food lover and also a heady boy, right? Especially as you enter your 30s, 40s, whatever. We want to know, Mac, what's the biggest personal clothing purchase you've ever made that now you regret?
That I made for myself?
Yeah. Splashed out.
To be honest, I don't necessarily have one. I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but everything I do, I'm very...
You don't miss.
I'm very careful with what I purchase. Everything for the most part, biggest purchase I've made is probably when I'm traveling in Japan or something. But I don't buy that many clothes for myself.
What was that big purchase?
At the time it was maybe I don't know, $4 or $5 grand. Nothing crazy.
Like what was it? Like a Vism robe or like?
No. Oh, you're talking about just a single piece?
Yeah.
Oh, a single piece. So I thought you meant like a big purchase. I might say it was probably like a big Ziggy Chen coat. He's a Chinese designer.
Yeah.
That I thought at the time was fucking awesome. And I remember my father was like, dude, you'll never wear this. I was like, don't. He's like, where the fuck are you going? I was like, don't worry. And it was,
I'll figure it
at
out.
the time, it was like a 4K coat. This was back in the day.
Did you wear it?
And I only wore it on Halloween.
Halloween.
Damn, dude, you literally you spent 4 G's on a costume.
A clown suit.
Yeah.
The Bodhi clown suit.
Yeah. Mac, how much money do you make? How convenient. You're getting a call right when I ask the question.
I do pretty well.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
What do you, besides clothing and besides traveling to Japan, what do you like to spend your money on?
I love to spend money on experiences.
Okay.
I love traveling in general. So it's really, and every time I can, I love just, even it can be fucking going to Joshua Tree for a few days or
little reset.
just like travel for me is everything.
Where do you still want to go? What's on the hit list? Like, where haven't you been? A well-traveled guy.
Somewhere I really want to go, which I've not been yet, is I'm down to go to Antarctica.
Oh, bro, you're going to go to Antarctica?
In the summer or the winter?
Probably the winter.
Why?
I don't know. I very much connect to places that are extremely untouched.
Okay.
I did a trip in Patagonia like 10, 12 years ago with my brother, which was like fucking blew my mind.
Is this the last remaining continent that you have not been to, Antarctica?
Yeah, I've never been to Antarctica, and I've never been to Australia.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
But Antarctica is somewhere that I really, really, really want to go.
You'd rather go there than Sydney or Melbourne.
Are you like an adventure traveler or like are you more like a luxury traveler?
I like both. I just like to go. I mean, typically I like to go places that are extremely calm.
Okay.
I have a very crazy day-to-day life, and to go places that I can
You're searching for Zen.
just zen. That's why I very much connect to like a lot of countries in Northern Europe, which are just fucking mellow and very kind of a slow pace.
Scandi.
Very like New York, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Totally.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Mac, we want to thank you for coming on to the only podcast that matters. Before we get you out of here, we'd love to know, as someone that has been at the helm of H.Lorenzo for 20 years, which is itself a 40-year enterprise, which is fucking crazy, longer than most stores out there and brands. Do you have any constructive criticism you would like to give us?
For you guys?
Yeah. Now we've
please.
hung out for like an hour or
Please.
15.
You're the director of operations of Throwing Fits for the next 45 seconds.
I think you guys do a great job.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I like that you guys bring a lot of there's a lot of a sense of being very down to earth.
Yes.
Which
We're
is-
normal people, dude.
We're all normal people in the end.
We were saying this before. It's fucking refreshing anytime you meet a nice person in fashion. And I think that we just met one.
I appreciate it.
You know?
You guys.
Shout out Maddie.
Yeah, honestly, one of the nicest guys in fact.
Exactly.
Every time I see him, it's like I don't know if he used,
Shout out Maddie,
he used to
baby.
do this thing called Fresh Fridays.
What was that?
When he was working with us, he used to do these kind of crazy IG posts, which we were actually laughing about it this morning. If he actually brought that shit on today, he actually might be an IG store.
Hell yeah. Maddie, bring it back.
Fresh Fridays were coming.
Fresh
yeah.
Fridays, hashtag.
Mac, what would you like to plug? Where can the kids follow you? The floor is yours.
Well, we are opening a new archive space in downtown, which will be open in the next week, which we're very excited about.
It's going to be a movie,
Cannot
dude.
wait to visit.
And if anybody doesn't follow, you can follow our company.
Is there a IG page for the archive, or is it just going to be?
It's just going to be under the
Okay,
H.Lorenzo
fine.
umbrella.
All right, good.
For the moment.
Do you have Instagram? I feel like you're not an IG guy.
I do. It's
private. Personal?
It's a private one. but I
Gotcha.
do, yeah.
But do you use Instagram as a tool to do like a bunch of research and discovery?
I do. I mean, a little bit more before. I feel like now there's just so much of fucking everything, and so many times where I find a brand which I think is fucking awesome, then you see it in person.
Dude, that's a plague where it's like things can look good online and then you feel it or you touch it.
That's
and it's
why
like,
I always have a rule. I mean, I've broken it a few times, but if I'm going to bring something in for the first time, I need to see it in person because
Gotta
things
see
can
it.
look fucking amazing. Like obviously people can do some great content on anything and the great mood, but you
AI
see it in
that
person.
shit.
It's,
Well, it's every brand that like
But I do a
advertise on
lot of,
Instagram. They're all bullshit.
I do a lot of research.
okay.
And I recently been just doing a lot of fucking bullshit scrolling on reels, which have been pretty fun actually.
Yeah. What's your real page? What's your timeline looking like?
Your For You page.
Random as fuck.
Is it
Just
food and shit or is it like
not food?
fashion?
It could be travel. It could be fashion. Could be poker. It could be
Okay.
poker?
Oh, so you're a gambling man.
a little bit. Yeah.
Are you a hold'em guy?
High
Hold
stakes?
Not too, but hold on, man.
You do it online or are you hitting Vegas?
Vegas. I did online for a little bit. Didn't pan out too well.
Why not? You need to like be in the room and like
Just
see
online.
your guy.
Online's too crazy.
Okay.
But I used to play a lot more before. But I do enjoy the game. Very
Is that
much.
like your number one vice is gambling, poker?
It's something that it's a game that I fucking love.
Okay.
I love poker and backgammon.
Okay.
What's the most you've been up in poker
Ooh.
at any given point?
This is getting fun. Most I've been up. I mean, I wanted.
And you know what we're gonna ask next.
Yeah. Probably 5-6 G's.
Okay.
Ooh, not too shabby. And
The
how
hole.
far down in that hole were you?
Probably 3-4 G's.
Okay.
So
Nothing crazy. I mean,
You're temperate.
I wouldn't play with anything that really matters, you know.
Okay, yeah.
That's good advice for any
Just cards though. Just cards.
gamblers out there.
Just cards, yeah.
No DraftKings or
Think so.
FanDuel.
No. It's just mainly because I actually love the game that much. It's a fucking great game.
Damn. What do you love about it? Just like, do
Just the mind game. It's everything is obviously a little bit of luck, but it's everything very strategy.
you have a tell?
Oh,
Not that I know, but probably. If you can look under the table, you can see my feet bouncing off a bit.
a little anxious. Yeah,
Little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
You
People
get a
don't
bit-
like feel those vibrations. I guess Vegas is carpeted.
Yeah. But but it's I don't know. I've been playing it since I was like last 15 years.
Do you get like the whale treatment in Vegas?
Which is what?
Like you get like the back room,
Yeah,
private
Compton
deal.
shit.
No. I don't play that. I don't play that high.
Okay.
I play like fucking 2.5 max, you know.
We were in Vegas together for a Super Bowl last year. We are terrible gamblers.
Yeah, nice.
It's fun. It's fun as fuck. We
it's,
suck.
it's the funnest thing ever.
Yeah.
Well,
And I'm like an adrenaline junkie, so it's like give me a fucking michelada and give me a fucking card game. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
We were on the roulette table, and my For You page, my TikTok at that point was just all roulette strategy, which did not work at all.
It's weird how that works out sometimes. You know?
And then we knew we weren't in for a good night when Lawrence spilled his beer into the roulette wheel.
Nice, yeah.
We were fucked up and on mushrooms. And
Perfect.
but at one point, he did guess red or black 8 times in a row. I'd never seen anything like it. It was wild.
Yeah.
And we were up pretty big. Of course, we lost it all.
We were
I
up like
don't want to do it.
$60.
No, much more than that. But
What were we up?
Gambling on
we were up
mushrooms is a
couple
funny
G.
one.
I was up $2,500. I don't know what, yeah, dude.
And you played just roulette?
We were that trip. We were
We
mainly
played
playing
black. We
little
tried blackjack.
Yeah.
We sucked. We weren't committed. We weren't like, we didn't come to the table with a big like, all right, we're gonna bet like
We were tourists.
$2,000. We were like, all right, $20.
We were casually like hanging out, and again, it was more about the vibes.
And you guys have been friends for how long?
20 years.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
No,
that was a
15
fun
years?
Vegas. That was a fun Vegas trip. You know.
Yeah. Do you like Vegas with the boys or with the misses?
Misses.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice
Couple
couples.
trips.
I
Does
think
she gamble?
No. I mean, she'll play a little roulette on the machine, you know?
Oh,
fire.
okay. She's a cheap date.
Yeah. She's cheap
At least
day.
in
I was like,
Vegas.
here, take $30. Go enjoy yourself.
I'm gonna be locked in.
penny
But
slots.
I enjoy with the misses because it's, with the boys, you can get a little, with the boys,
A little rowdy.
maybe my early 20s, mega
Right,
fun,
right.
but
Right.
she can go, I basically put her in the spa, get her a massage I'm
Yeah.
free for 3 hours. I'm basically down 400 before I even start, but it's okay.
That's
Get a
true.
nice meal afterwards.
Yeah, go enjoy. I got you to our massage.
Absolutely.
All right, Mac. Well, what a way to end the podcast. We want to thank you again for coming on the only podcast that matters.
I know.
Jeff, take us out.
I appreciate it. Thank you.